There's a moment almost every man remembers. Not a big moment, not a dramatic confession, just something small, quiet, almost invisible. Maybe it was the way she looked at you when you weren't talking. Maybe it was the pause before she answered a simple question. Maybe it was the way she said your name, softer than it needed to be. Nothing about it was obvious, but something inside you shifted. Your chest tightened, your attention locked in, and for a second, you felt seen in a way you couldn't explain. That wasn't imagination. That was instinct. Human attraction doesn't announce itself. It doesn't raise its voice. It whispers through behavior most people overlook. We're taught that desire looks loud, flirting, confidence, bold moves. But real desire is much quieter than that, because real desire carries risk. When someone starts to care, they become careful. That's why the moments that stay with you the longest are never the flashy ones, they're the subtle ones. The ones that feel charged even though nothing happened. This video is not about tricks. It's not about manipulation. And it's not about chasing attention. It's about learning how to see what's already there. Because when a woman truly desires a man, her behavior begins to shift in ways she doesn't even consciously control. And once you understand those shifts, you'll realize how many times attraction was present and you never recognized it. One of the biggest lies men are taught about attraction is this, that when a woman likes you, she becomes confident, direct, and fearless. In reality, the opposite is usually true. When a woman starts to feel something real for a man, she doesn't become louder. She becomes more aware. You'll notice it in small ways. She thinks before she speaks. She chooses her words more carefully. She pauses instead of answering immediately. Not because she's nervous, but because she cares. Desire introduces emotional risk, and when risk is present, people protect what matters. She starts replaying conversations after they end, wondering how she sounded, whether she said too much, whether she said the right thing. This isn't insecurity. This is investment. You'll also notice a change in how she listens. When she's not interested, she hears you. When she desires you, she remembers you. She brings up something you mentioned weeks ago, your opinion about something small, a story you told in passing, a frustration you never thought anyone noticed. That level of attention doesn't happen by accident. Attention is the first real currency of attraction. People don't focus that deeply on someone they don't care about, and the more she values the connection, the more carefully she handles it. That's why real desire doesn't feel bold, it feels intentional. Before a woman ever admits attraction, her body usually reveals it, not through touching, not through obvious flirting, but through something much quieter, positioning. You'll notice she starts finding reasons to be near you. Same room, same side of the table, same walking pace, sitting a little closer than necessary. She isn't trying to make a move, she's testing comfort. Desire doesn't rush into intimacy, it moves toward safety first. Her nervous system is asking a simple question. How do I feel when I'm close to him? And when the answer feels good, she stays there. That's why this kind of closeness doesn't feel forced. There's no excuse given. No explanation needed. She just happens to be where you are. That's not coincidence. That's instinct. People naturally gravitate toward the energy that feels right to them. And when a woman keeps choosing your space, it means something about your presence feels emotionally safe. Most men miss this because they expect desire to look aggressive, but real attraction begins in quiet alignment, before words, before touch, before anything obvious. One of the most confusing things for men is this. A woman starts to joke with you. She teases you. She shows a little warmth. Then suddenly, she pulls back. Her message is slow. Her tone changes. She feels a little more distant. Most men assume they did something wrong, but very often this shift isn't disinterest, it's emotional self-protection. When a woman begins to feel attracted, vulnerability enters the picture. And vulnerability is risky. Teasing becomes a shield. Pulling back becomes a test. She isn't trying to push you away. She's watching how you respond when she doesn't fully lean in. Do you stay relaxed? Do you keep your sense of self? Or do you chase reassurance and emotional certainty? Her attraction isn't just about how you make her feel. It's about how you handle uncertainty. A man who stays grounded when the energy shifts feels safe. A man who panics feels unstable. Women don't test men to hurt them. They test men to see who is emotionally solid. And emotional stability is one of the strongest foundations of attraction. When a woman desires you, her attention becomes quietly alert. Not jealous, not dramatic, just aware. You might notice it when another woman laughs at your joke, or when someone else speaks to you a little longer than necessary. Her eyes shift. Her posture changes slightly. Her tone becomes just a bit more focused. She doesn't confront you. She doesn't accuse. She observes. Desire doesn't demand exclusivity right away. It evaluates it. She's not trying to control your attention. She's simply measuring where she stands in your world. This is how attraction checks for competition. Not through confrontation, but through awareness. And if she cares about you, her mind starts filtering information differently. Other men become background noise. Other women become data points. Because desire naturally narrows focus. It doesn't need to make a scene. It just quietly pays attention. One of the most misunderstood signs of attraction is silence. A woman opens up to you, shares something personal, then suddenly she goes quiet. Messages slow down. Energy shifts. Distance appears. Most men think this means they lost her, but very often it means the opposite. She revealed something real, and now she's checking whether she exposed too much too soon. Desire creates internal conflict. Part of her wants closeness. Part of her wants emotional safety. So she pulls back. Not to leave, but to stabilize. What matters most in this moment is how you respond. If you pressure her for reassurance, attraction weakens. If you stay calm and unchanged, attraction deepens. Because she's watching one thing, does your emotional center depend on her availability? A man who remains grounded feels safe. A man who reacts from fear feels unstable. And desire is always drawn to emotional stability. When a woman desires you, she rarely asks directly how you feel about her. Instead, she asks in indirect ways. She brings up situations that sound random, stories about other people, hypothetical questions that feel oddly specific. What she's really doing is this. She's placing a mirror in front of you. She wants to see how you think, how you judge situations, how you handle emotional complexity. She's not just measuring attraction, she's measuring compatibility. Desire doesn't only want chemistry, it wants psychological alignment. That's why your opinions start to matter more than your compliments. She's listening for your values, your emotional control, your sense of self. And when you disagree with her calmly, something interesting happens. Attraction often grows, because strength without hostility feels safe. Confidence without ego feels rare. A woman who desires you isn't looking for someone who always agrees. She's looking for someone who can stand firm without becoming cold. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking that if a woman doesn't rush into physical closeness, she must not be attracted. In reality, strong desire often does the opposite. When a woman really wants a man, she becomes more careful with intimacy, not less. Physical closeness creates emotional exposure, and emotional exposure feels powerful and risky. So she slows it down, not to reject you, but to stay in control of what she's feeling. If attraction is strong, rushing can feel like losing balance. That's why she may hold back even when the chemistry is obvious. Women don't protect what they don't value. If she didn't care, she would move fast and forget faster. But when she slows down, it means something matters. Patience isn't a lack of desire. It's a sign that desire feels important. Attraction doesn't end when the conversation ends. When a woman desires you, the connection doesn't switch off the moment you walk away. Instead, it turns inward. She replays small moments, your tone, your expressions, things you said that seemed ordinary but felt meaningful. She wonders how she came across, what you might have thought, whether she showed too much or too little. This kind of reflection doesn't happen when someone is indifferent. Indifference forgets quickly. Desire lingers. You can often feel it in the energy after goodbye. If she was present with you, the ending feels unfinished. She may linger. Find one more thing to say. Send a follow-up message that didn't really need to be sent. Not because she has something important to add, but because she isn't ready for the connection to close. Attraction doesn't like abrupt endings.